Go over and give him a kick in the codpiece for me. Click. Okay, so we can get through 6 chapters in about an hour, so that's not bad. That's not bad. This one seems to be like a medium length one if I'm looking at the thing correctly. Anyway, John's been spending a lot of time with Roxy lately, which also means spending a lot of time with Calliope, which is awkward but fine. But it also means spending a lot of time with Gamzee, which is awkward and not even remotely fine. John, Roxy, Calliope are taking a stroll through downtown New Prospect. Gamzee's here too, a couple feet behind John, doing essentially the same thing the other 3 are doing, which is walking at a leisurely pace, but he's being so weird about it that you can't really call it strolling. It's more like he's holding court, while somehow remaining in motion. Ever since he popped out of that fridge smelling like a sweaty foot, he's been all wise and sage-like. John considers that if he were using those 2 descriptors out loud, he'd make air quotes while saying them. He'd then say Gamzee's acting almost like a priest, which is a word he would also make air quotes around due to how insanely full of crap John still believes him to be. Roxy and Calliope, however, apparently do not believe him to be full of crap for whatever reason. Isn't that nice? Huh? Gamzee is leading a line of adoring Carpathians behind him, telling them stupid fake Zen stuff. You gotta stop to smell the seed fronds, my dudes. Not to be speciesist or anything, but the sight is kind of worrying because John knows all too well how susceptible Carpathians are to grassroots populism. He has it on good authority that virtually any schmuck can blunder into a crowd of them, say a few inspirational words, and incite revolutionary fervor among the masses. John tries his best to ignore it and walk ahead, but Roxy loops her arm through his and pulls him back. We're here, check it. Where's here? Me and Callie's fave cafe. It's a nice place. Big oval windows, flowers on the tables. It's got a French-ish aesthetic. John says ish because everything on Earthsea is sort of ish. Alternian-ish, Dersh-ish, Japanese-ish. He'd even describe the sky as something kind of blue-ish. Sometimes it's almost more turquoise than anything else. Too crisp and bright, like old Earth sky has been through a pair of tinted novelty glasses. John doesn't mean to be cynical about it, but he guesses that's just the mood he's in. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that Calliope insists on including an unbelievably smelly clown on an otherwise perfectly pleasant stroll. What? That's it? We're going into this coffee shop? I got out of bed for this? LMAO. Oh, John, you're so funny. No, seriously, Roxy. I felt like I haven't left my house in years with all that stuff the stuff that's going on like Rose's illness or that stuff for the political situation. Is it really a good idea for us to have a picnic and going out to coffee shops? Oh, John, don't worry about it so much about things you have no control over. Like I said the other day, it's time for us to leave ugly things behind us. Yeah, for real, John, can't we just enjoy what a beautiful day it is? I know I'm enjoying it since I'm getting to spend it with you like I've always been wanting. You have? Yeah, duh. She tugs him against her side and rests her head on his shoulder. She feels a bit taller than him in her nice shoes, which is kind of awkward. Feels uncomfortable to him, and looks more so for her. But he's enjoying the attention, sort of. He missed her, the way she used to be when the 2 of them were close as kids. She's laying it in a little thick for his benefit right now, and while he can appreciate it, it can be difficult to rekindle the friendship after it's gone cold for a while. John wishes the rekindling period would hurry up and end already so that they can go back to shooting the crap like normal. Roxy drags him into the cafe. Calliope doesn't follow them in, for reasons only he can guess. He catches a glimpse of her through the window, a little forlorn, Gamzee at her side like a faithful dog. He can't hear what they're saying. Outside, Calliope clasps her hands and directs a wistful expression through the cafe window, foot traffic splitting lazily around her and Gamzee as they stand in the busy street. At high noon, her little body casts almost no shadow on the cobblestone road. What's shaking, sis? You looked all bummed the heck out. How can you be feeling down when we getting all redeemed and stuff in here? Oh, it's just... Can't you see what's happening with Roxy and John? I can see what's happening, and they don't have a clue. Okay, no. Stop. It's too soon to make that decision. We're moving on. Gamzee stares through the window. Roxy is leaning against the table to dab at the corners of John's mouth with a napkin. John looks very confused because they aren't actually eating anything yet. Gamzee stares at this for a long time, his mouth lolling open as he contemplates what is transpiring with the closest facility to wisdom he can muster. He puts one of his huge hands on Calliope's narrow shoulder, all comforting like, "Oh yeah, right, for sure. Your girl Roxy is all globes deep in that dude's dank nook." "Yes, and while I can't say I didn't see this coming, it's all happening so fast. I thought for sure I'd have more time with her." "Would you like me to?" Gamzee leans in so that his face is level with Calliope. His grin shows every single one of his teeth. Miraculously, his breath smells worse than his body. "Do something about it?" "No! No, Gamzee. No, please. It's fine. I might be sad, but John has made his choice and we must all live with the repercussions of that. I'm sure that Roxy will be very happy with him. We're all going to be very, very happy. I truly believe that." Calliope walks away, looking somewhat less than very, very happy. Gamzee remains standing in front of the cafe, still not entirely convinced that he shouldn't do something about it. Jean notices him there, just outside the window, leering at him and Roxy. His expression is sincere. His expression is serene, vacant. Calliope is nowhere to be seen. Hey Roxy? What's up?" "Gamzee. He's staring at us and it's kind of creeping me out." "Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. He just gets stuck like that sometimes." "Stuck?" "All wonked out and stuff. I think he's got bad brain damage from being a burnout. It's so sad." "Is it?" Roxy takes a sip of her tea. Her purple lipstick leaves a stain on the fine china. "Yeah, John, it's totes sad. He never had a chance with the kind of life he had. What a tragic, misunderstood figure." Quit saying that. It's making me hate him more and more every single chance. Roxy sighs and smears the jelly atop her cheesecake with an absurdly tiny dessert fork it was served with. She pops it in her mouth with a pouty little lip pop, staring directly at John with her eyes half-lidded. He thinks she might be trying to be sexy, but he's a bit distracted by the sight of Gamzee lumbering into the cafe with all the grace of an aubergine Sasquatch sporting an epic erection. Is he still wearing the fake god tier stuff? Oh, man. He puts both hands on the backs of Roxy's chair and looms over her. Without breaking eye contact with John, Roxy scoops up a spoonful of cheesecake and feeds it to him. "Oh, hey, Roxita." "Hey, Gams, what's shaking?" "Callie went all running off." "Aw, I hope she's feeling all right." "She's fine. She said some noise about cause of what John did. We're all gonna be one happy family of ninjas forever." "What?" "Gamzee, you're one silly dude. TBH, pretty psyched to see you going through all this redemption stuff. I bet you're gonna make a baller part of our greater ensemble if you're given the chance." "Oh, quit saying that. You're making me doubt it more and more." Forced redemption arc, never good sign. John attempts to furtively gesture his disapproval with the entire situation towards Roxy by vaguely swiping his neck in the horizontal direction with his fingers, but she doesn't notice. Instead, she puts her fork down, slides her chair out, and springs to her feet with an abundance of this newfound enthusiasm he's been struggling to understand. "BRB, gonna hit the ladies' room. Back in a jiff, suckers." All right." John and the date's repulsive third wheel watch as she scurries to the back of the establishment. Do, Steve. Do. Go away. What's the deal with your friend Steve? Hey, how's it going? Sorry. Okay, the moment the door of the bathroom closes, Gamzee lumbers into a sitting position across the table from John, without the slightest deviation of his heinously awkward comportment. He puts his forearms on the table in front of him, folds his hands, gazes into John's eyes with what he has come to identify as Gamzee's signature brand of faux serenity. "My guy. My dude, my ninja, I like my horn dog. My horn to the dog. Waiter, help." John desperately waves to attract some service in hopes that it will provide a social buffer for the appalling interaction that is presently taking place, but no carapations seem to be close enough to heed his request. "I see what's up, my good invertebrother. All's about I can say is game recognized game. You got no secrets from this mother trucker, egg boy. A man stays locked in another man's hunger trunker long enough. Ain't got much left to hide from one another. Actually, it wasn't even my fridge. It was Jane's. I mean, we basically got the same fridge." "Shut up. I'm getting real at a mother trucker right now. I'm being redeemed, yo. I said my sorries, and how did I get Canadian? I said my sorries, and I redeemed the heck out of myself, didn't you see? Yeah. So it's incumbent on a mother trucker to spread the redemption. You should get your redemption on too, my choicest of dudes, my dankest of dogs. See, a mother trucker knows. You got this girl on a rope. It's time you pull her into your tent. I can smell it on you, brother. You've wasted years letting this premium girl slip through your fingers. Less conscionable than any crude stunt I've pulled in my day, I must tell you. A capital mother trucking crime to squander an earth like that. Holy crap. But I'm all getting your back here, bro. I can be your wingman in this carnal caper. I can help a pansy like you romantically redeem his sorry butt. Let a mother trucker help another mother trucker out. Her popcorn skillet's piping hot for you already. You just need a tight and loyal boy like me to start shoveling in the corn. DMC, just stop. Just stop this right now. Thinking it unwise to break eye contact with this lunatic, John nods very slowly as he listens while taking a secret snap of his ghoulish face to send to Terezi. Before John submits, he tags the photo with the message, I absolutely hate this. Holy crap, Gamzee, stop. Stop. I don't like it. Back with Rose and Kanaya. Did you hear that Jane has been intending to run for president? Yes, she in fact asked me to serve a position in her cabinet on the board of responsible troll reproduction. Oh dear, what did you tell her? Well, not in so many words, but I told her to kindly F-bomb off. I love Kanaya with the stealth tactical F-bombs. Rose arches an eyebrow at her wife, who is tending to the mother grub. Rose herself is sitting cross-legged on an outcropping over the lip of the breeding pit, knitting in a series of tiny scarves for the grub clones that she and Kanaya have come to help hatch. That bad, huh? She was already talking about regulating troll reproduction, with great confidence, I might add, as if she's already been elected. Very presumptuous of her. Well, I suppose her confidence was not unearned. Who was going to run against her? Carcat? Kanaya laughs to herself, more fond than mocking. Rose turns over another row on her scarf with dexterous ease, switching the knit pattern without missing a stitch. From behind her knitting, she watches Kanaya check the shell thickness of a batch of eggs. Her wife is luminous in the early morning light, her rainbow drinker skin soaking in the pink light and reflecting it back in the inside, like the inside of a snail's shell. I don't think Carcat would be such a bad candidate, actually, depending on certain factors, I mean. I'm assuming that this is theoretical scenario. Dave is handling the economy. I'm assuming in this theoretical scenario, Dave is handling the economy. Oh, of course. Okay, in that case, it might have all worked out in the end. Doubtlessly. I have great faith in Carcat and always have. However, I am also not certain that he could step out of his hive without catching on fire. Swifer, could you not swift the mother grub so vigorously? Oh, sorry. Swifer Egg Mop is Kanaya's overeager but well-meaning jade-blooded assistant. She talks a little like a parody of a 1920s newsboy archetype, which Rose can only theorize has to do with Jane's influence on the culture. Just trying to get her all nice and clean. I heard that the new prospect pornographer is coming by later to scope out some pics. Swifer's in the center of the breeding pit, knee-deep in birthing juice as she mops down the mother grub's exoskeleton. The parturition of troll grubs is apparently an arduous and grisly task, one that has strained the mother grub's simmering white exoskeleton rainbow dark with various secretions. Rose takes a moment to feel grateful that her current relationship alignment leaves no chance for her to ever be human pregnant. Not that she has any particular distaste for motherhood. It might be nice to adopt a little troll grub once the whole ball of natural reproduction gets rolling. Swifer adjusts the rate of her swifting. Swiping. Sorry. To a more acceptable level of vigor. She shines up the last segment she's working on, then twirls the mop over her wrist with a martial flourish that absolutely recalls the fact that she is born from a natural warrior-born species. She then gets to work washing the mother grub's horns. What's all this about the hornographer? Since when has the press taken an interest in our activities down here? Oh yes, you were busy dying when I set all that up. Whoa. The mother grub is mature enough this year to process inseminated slowly for the first time in our history. If the government gives us the go-ahead, we can begin breeding trolls the natural way next month. I arranged the newspaper story when Jane asked you to sit on the board for responsible troll reproduction. Yes, the first thing I did immediately after screaming into a pillow was to call my acquaintance at the paper. Now that she isn't running, it doesn't seem very important, however. Actually, I'm not terribly interested in politics at all. Without anger motivating me, I began to think about how it's probably very irresponsible for any of us to use our influence in such a way. I agree. In fact, I just assumed that most of us had arrived at such a conclusion. Not Jane, apparently. Or Dave, I'm sorry to say. There's a third member of their social group who definitely hasn't arrived at that conclusion that his power and influence should be metered out responsibly either. Neither of them speak his name, however. For some reason it feels like a shadow passing over the sun. A brief spike of pain flickers through Rose's head, a bolt that strikes between her eyes and splinters out. There is color and light behind it, a vision that tears through the material reality in front of her and gives her a brief glimpse into a parallel reality where things are very different. It is gone as soon as she notices. The image never materializes. She ties off the last row of her scarf and unwinds her knitting needles from the wool, a serene smile tugging at her lips. Since waking up in the hospital, she's stopped worrying altogether about what might be happening in splintered timelines. She stopped worrying, in fact, about almost everything at all. Cat, what do you meow? Cat, are you lonely? Speedy! Kitty, move! Stop! Cat, what are you doing? Oh, come on. Do you not have water? You have water. Come here. Come with me. I'm gonna hug you. Come here. You're so good. Who's a good cat? Who's a good cat? Who's a good cat? You are. You're lonely. You get lonely so easy. Okay. You can visit me whenever you want. The door's open. No need to scream so far away, okay? Let me get back to reading. I love you. Bye, Speedy Cat. Sorry about that. Like clockwork. Anyway. A pleasant breeze rustles through her hair, carrying the sweet scent of early spring from the mouth of the chasm. Rose closes her eyes for a moment and breathes it in, taken just 1 minute at a time. A day can be filled with hundreds of perfect moments. Well, whatever inconvenient party-ruining opinions Dave and Jane might have about the economic future of our planet, it's all in the past. I have a very good feeling about where things are going now. I see. So are you the seer now? No, but I can make predictions based on existing evidence, and if I can spend every day like this doing the work I was born to do, with the person I am most fond of in the world by my side, I believe that I can handle anything. Did you really use dialogue like that to win my heart, or are we getting complacent and incredibly uncool in our old age? I convinced you to marry me. I convinced you to marry me. I don't think that I'm obligated to be cool anymore. Kanaya, you're the coolest chick I know. What are you doing with your hands? Oh, just one of these. Please don't tell me you're attempting to do the Strider thing. The thing he does where he pretends to operate an invisible record player. Gah. Who's the cool one now? Well, it sure isn't you. Same text color. Mam and Mam's wife. Bank's closed, ladies. First eggs hatching already. Kanaya twirls on her heel, skin flickering bright as she lifts her skirt and jumps to the breeding pit. Rose sets down her needles and follows, walking along the edge of the pit to the place closest to the eggs. She crouches to watch the miracle of life begin. She's never taken the time to come down here before and sees the grubs hatch, probably because she's been too busy diminishing melodramatically on the couch to take an active interest in her wife's calling. The grub is already chewing through the chitin eggshell with its little legs moving sinuously in an offbeat concert. Swiffer is sniffling. She makes the motion of wiping away a tear somewhat cartoonishly. Golly gee, oh my, this part always makes me tear up. Kanaya dips down to help the grub out of the shell. Her skirt trails through the puddle of birthing jelly, but she doesn't seem to care. There's an odd expression lighting up her face, in addition to the literal light emanating through her skin. She tears away the last chunk of the shell. It's mottled and rough, like a rock on the outside, but has a layer beneath like mulched flesh. Kanaya's hands are soaked blue with bloody yolk when she finally lifts the grub and holds it to the light. Rose, look. Rose looks. All the troll grubs appear as kind of samey, but this one has a familiar look about her. Asymmetric horns, one crescent, the other harpoon-like, a mussed mane of hair, and a mischievous glint in her beady eyes, particularly the one with 7 pupils. Vriska? Pretty close. A reasonable genetic approximation. This brood has been utilizing a slurry consisting of genes from our original group of 12 trolls. Mostly this results in unique individuals, but sometimes very close copies occur, as well as the case with ancestral descendancy. So Vriska would be this troll's ancestor? Yes. Wow. Rose, I think this is a sign. A sign of what? Haven't we been talking about adopting a grub? Eventually, yes, but a natural-born grub. Don't you think it would be somewhat awkward? Us raising a clone of your sort of ex? What happens when Vriska comes back? What do we do? What would we say to her? Rose, Vriska is dead, so it doesn't really matter. Is she dead, though? Absolutely. There are 2 things of which I have no doubt. That you and I are going to be happy for the rest of our lives, and that we are never ever going to see Vriska again. Baby Vriska wriggles her 6 talons. Kanaya cradles the little grub against her chest and pokes it in the nose. The grub reacts by blowing a bubble of bright cerulean yolk membrane out from between its lips. To her own surprise, the sight melts Rose's heart in an instant. The emotion that hits her feels like one of her old visions. Suddenly she can see her and Kanaya's future so clearly, like a map rolled out at her feet, stretching far into the horizon. Kanaya's right. Vriska is dead, and despite everything, she died a hero. Vriska was a complicated figure of contrasting extremes. Her heroic actions were matched in scale only by her monstrous ones, and since no one had actually witnessed her end, it was impossible to say which side of the pendulum swing and judged her death, heroic or just. It would be fitting a memorial for her and Kanaya to raise a version of Vriska, who would be given every chance to make good on her noble characteristics, a true symbolic redemption arc. Something about the thought appeals to Rose's taste for the dramatic flourish. It would be proof that all this was worth it in the end. The destruction of multiple universes, the death of Kanaya's friends, the circuitous rites of suffering experienced by nearly infinite splintered versions of being to inhabit paradox space. Rose loves her wife fiercely in this moment, the new mother of her species, framed in a literal halo of light. She can't contain her excitement. She leaps into the pit with Kanaya and runs to embrace her, not caring about the irreversible rainbow-colored stains she's smearing into her dress. Oh, Kanaya, you're right. We're going to be so astonishingly happy. I don't know how Homestuck's Wiki's going to manage all of this. Are they going to be like, in this timeline, but in this timeline, this happened. And click. Aren't you guys happy to get out of the house for once? Jade's tail swishes back and forth under her striped skirt as she takes a great big sniff of the fresh outside air. It's early evening on the outskirts of the Troll Kingdom. One by one, neon bright windows are lighting up on the hives in the distance. Karkat still shielding his eyes against the dying strains of the sunset. His shoulders are scrunched up so high that his cheeks disappear into his turtleneck. No, actually, I don't get what's so great about it. I can see the same bull from the comfort of my house. Check it out, a giant billboard of Jake English compete with gyrating mechanical butt. What a totally unnecessary thing to shove right into my gander bulbs. Definitely couldn't have lived without seeing that. Dude, okay, don't pretend you don't spend at least 15% of your day ogling Jake's butt on television anyway. In fact, you're doing it right now. Well, I can't help it, Dave. It's right there. Oh my lord, are the mechanical glutes on that billboard actually padded with plush to make them more lifelike? Yeah, I see crazed fans kept climbing the billboards to cop a feel, so Dirk designed the second run of them to have an accurate recreation of Jake's butt density. He did what? It's wild, dude. It's like exactly spot on. Wait, holy crap, have you actually touched Jake's butt? I mean, not necessarily on purpose, but who hasn't? Like, I wouldn't say it's so much that I touched his butt. It's more like his butt copped a feel on my sweaty palm one time, and my poor fingers haven't been the same since. Hold on. Cat is crying again. Speedy! 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 What is wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? Speedy's come to join me. Okay. Whew. Okay. Sometimes I wake up from a fevered sleep and find my reluctant groping hand huddled in the corner of my bed, still shaking and stuff. The mind represses, but the body remembers. I thought about taking my hand to a psychologist, but I don't think the little guy is ready to talk about it yet. Anyway, have you seriously never touched it? I haven't. Not even by accident, like brushing by in a crowded elevator? No, I don't spend a lot of time standing in elevators with Jake English. Or, for that matter, doing much of anything with the idiot, as you well know. What I'm hearing is that you've tragically never touched his butt, and it's a bit of a sore subject with you. Is that why you're so obsessed with it? Do you want to touch it? It can be arranged, my dude. I'll text Dirk right now. I bet he can pencil you in to cop a feel sometime next week. No, I don't want to. Put your phone, though, away. We are never having a play date with Dirk and Jake again. Especially not one arranged for the express purpose of assaulting one of them. Dude, Jake lives for this. It's not assault if his butt is begging for it. Wait, that sounded bad. Let's strike that one from the record. Anyway, it's not a problem. He literally will be delighted to hear you want to spend time with him for some insane reason. Stop texting right now. Carcat tries to tear Dave's phone out of his hand, but Dave simply levitates several inches off the ground to hold it just out of jumping distance. Jade, pouting a bit, glides in between them and uses her space powers to teleport Dave's phone out from the center of his traumatized palm and into the pocket of her sweater. Hey, can we focus here? Jake's butt isn't the one who should be talking about right now. Oh my god, Jade, do you ever stop? I don't care about your butt either. I've seen it about as many times. Twitter, get out of here. I don't care what Mara Wilson says. Okay. I don't care about your butt either. I've seen it about as many times as I've seen Jake's. The novelty has worn off, assuming there is even much to begin with. Whew! Jade leers at the boy, who may have just implied her butt was nothing to write home about. Her canines are long and sharper than a normal human's, making her grin even more predatory in nature, especially when she wants it to be. Carcat shivers at the sight of it. That's not what I'm talking about. Jade grabs Carcat's hand, then Dave's left one and begins to pull them towards each other. Both boys recoil, but she is much stronger than both of them. Jade, come on, what are you? She's doing it. She's making it happen. This is a date, dummies. No, stop. Dude! Carcat makes a fist so tight that his nubby fingernails pinch his skin. Dave does the opposite. He makes a flat palm, raises it as if to stop traffic. No, let me show you. You have to turn it flipwise. She turns Dave's hand so that it's cupping Carcat's angry little fist in its palm. When she tries to pry Carcat's fingers open, finally they snap close around Dave's almost automatically. Carcat's eyes go a little bulb-like. Dave's gone pale and a bit sweaty. Jade claps, then makes a rectangle with her thumbs and forefingers, framing her hand-holding besties at the center of it. She's taking a picture with her brain now. Dave and Carcat, being all shy and intimate, with the romantic backdrop of a brilliant twilight behind them. A pretty portrait. Put her in the middle of it, and it's a work of art. Just what she wants the rest of her life to be. After all, where would these two pitiful beta boys be without her? Jade's on top. Aw, jeez. See, I don't mind at all. I would never try to break up what you two have. I'm just trying to make it better. With a satisfied smile, Jade dips under their arms and hooks her hands around their waists, pulling Dave and Carcat up flush against her. Their fingers remain intertwined behind her back. She begins walking them down the ridge of the hill, beaming brighter than the first stars in the sky. See, isn't this perfect? It could be like this all the time, you know. The three of us in every combination, or whatever combinations you two are comfortable with. Positions too. Dave has gone catatonic. Carcat's just quiet, but it's a quiet that's as loud and alarmed as his actual voice. He's got his head turned away from the situation he's been forced into, as far as it will go. He's concentrating so hard on looking elsewhere that he trips over a rock and is only saved by Jade, picking the three of them off the ground as she takes flight. Carcat's legs flail when his feet go from under him. Ah, don't do that. You know I hate that. Jade sets them back down on the ground, cackling like the witch she is. Karkat still won't look at her. She stops laughing abruptly, sensing that her plan isn't going as well as she hoped. She views the two boys as broken electrical circuit, and herself as the conductor between the two charged points. She just needs to maneuver it into the correct configuration, like she did with her hands. She does a few quick calculations in her head, refusing to give up on the assumption that relationship issues can be solved the same way as math problems can. Don't worry, Karkat, there's nothing to be scared of. Well, take care of you. Well, scared of? Well, take care of you, right, Dave? No, we'll take care of you. Dang it. We'll take care of you, right, Dave? Dave doesn't answer. She answers for him by leaning down and planting a dry, affectionate kiss on Karkat's cheek. He yelps and leaps away like he's been scalded by a burning iron, liberating himself from the deeply uncomfortable hug tirade. No, triad. Okay, that's it. I'm drawing a line in the sand right here and now, Jade. You will cease this endless violation of my person with your mouth and occasionally your tail. I'm not a piece of meat that you can brutally and viciously molest when you're bored. Brutally and viciously? Alright, it's possible I'm overreacting, but that's my right. As a free and autonomous person with a certain degree of fundamentally bodily sovereignty endowed to him by the gods of consent. But I hope you understand what I'm getting at here, which is that I want you to stop doing stuff like kissing me without asking permission first. Karkat, you're absolutely right, and I couldn't agree with you on issues of consent, as everyone who's gotten to know me well enough is perfectly aware, but I'm not the one who kissed you, silly. What? Jade covers her mouth coquettishly and winks. It was Dave. Dave turns around, shoulders going ridges, eyes popping open like he's just awoken from one of the terrible sweaty nightmares he was projecting onto his hand earlier. Why, what? You kissed Karkat. Finally. No, I didn't. Why would I? Dave hesitates. Jade is giddy with anticipation. She couldn't possibly look more pleased by her own handiwork. I have no idea what you're talking about. I would never. You're whack, Jade. I'm not. Whack? Why would I kiss Karkat? I've never even once thought about kissing Karkat. How would you even do that? He's so petite. I'm what? You're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna admit it. That was a weird thing to say, and that's got nothing at all to do with your kissability. Dang it! Can't we stop talking about this yet? What I mean is, how could somebody kiss this guy like anybody when my teeth are so what? Dude, they're huge, and they're not always in your mouth. So, like, would you get a guy get his tongue in there? Tongue! Karkat begins hyperventilating and momentarily forgets his beef with Jade long enough to lean on her to prevent himself from toppling over. You'd have to really be careful to, if you were to intend on kissing Karkat, it's not like I put any thought into this, but you'd have to be so careful, just so totally gentle in your approach to it because he's so, enough, cease, I command you, like this. I don't know if I'm just spitballing, and this is literally the first time the thought has ever popped into my head, but upon earnest reflection, I don't know if I'm up to the task. Dave's mouth hangs open a bit. His gaze flits from Karkat to Jade and back again. His palms are wet, but his mouth is dry. I'm not. I was never. We're not. Dave's mumbling protest slows to a stop. Actually, yeah. You know what? I don't actually have time for this. Peace, dudes. Dave ollies the heck out of there, flash stepping between 1 second to the next, disappearing 30 seconds into the future with the gusto of a piece of garbage flying into the sun. Jade stares after him, blinking at the glare of the afterimage he left behind. It's a shimmering slice of ultraviolet that only she can see. It lingers in unstable particles between the air. She huffs and puts her hands on her hips. Wow, rude! I forget sometimes how immature Dave can be. Well, Karkat, I guess it's just us. Do you still want to go split a plateau of Grev's spaghetti or at the noodle barn? Karkat, when she turns to address him, is staring at her slack-jawed. He takes a step back, but isn't watching where he puts his foot. His heel goes into a dip in the hill, and he goes stumbling backwards, feet over hand. Jade, would you... Ow! Stop! Give me a little help. Maybe... Ow! Jade could probably catch him. Actually, she could easily do it, but she doesn't seem like the kind of favor you should do in a fledgling kismissitude. So instead, she watches him roll all the way down to the floor of the hill, knees and elbows bouncing along, all ragdolled and furious as he swears up a storm. He hits the ground back first and lays there for a few seconds, completely owned. He watches the darkening sky with a hollow look on his face for at least an entire minute. He then slowly pulls himself to his feet and brushes the brambles off his pants. He points up to the hill at Jade and shouts, "For the record, just so we're both clear, this is why I hate leaving the house." He absconds, limping a little and rubbing the left side of his butt, which unfortunately for him affords nowhere near the level of padding as Jake's legendary backside. Jade puffs out both her cheeks and stares after him. "Well, I guess I'm eating grub spaghetti alone. Again!" She is just so in there, and I just don't know, man.
Hey there. Consider becoming a patron, just like the phenomenal Gerald Thomas and Bleed Red.